welcome to the 3DownNation podcast, Tomas Jack Kurdyla, man. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So where do we find you right now?
I'm located right now back at home in Montreal, Quebec.
And how long have you been there?
It's going to go, on 3 weeks next week, I believe. I came home on the 13th after my pro day, thinking that I'm just going to come home, see my family for, a couple days and go back to Buffalo on the Monday. But as we were driving home, everything was getting shut down, and by the next week, the border was already shut down, so my parents felt like it was a better idea if I stayed home and trained and stayed secluded for a little bit.
Maybe safer in Canada than the States, potentially?
Yeah, I'd definitely say so.
And you just literally were able to sneak your pro day, and how crucial was that? And did you ever think about maybe moving that date earlier or yourself working out on a different date earlier for pro scouts due to coronavirus?
It was an interesting time. I remember during our workout sessions in Buffalo, me and Devlin Moore, who's also a Montreal native, were working out with a group of guys, and we were all worried about all this Corona stuff was happening as we started to train in January. Everything with this Corona news was starting to lay down, and we were getting a little bit nervous, but we didn't really see everything getting shut down the way it is right now at the time. But we were very fortunate and blessed to have snuck it in right at the last day.
And you did well, man. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was so nerve-wracking. I've been waiting for that. I waited for that day basically since I found out about what a pro day was as a kid. Me and my friends have been training nonstop, grinding. We had a really great senior class that we were able to work out together and perform at pro day. But it was just a lot of nerves. I really wanted to do well. I wanted to show that everybody who's helped me get to that point was successful and allowed me to reach almost my full potential.
You mentioned envisioning that as a kid. So let's go back before we sort of go forward here for a second. When did you first get into football? Where did you grow up and all that good stuff?
Grew up in Montreal, Quebec. I live with right now with my dad, my stepmom, and my stepsister. I've lived in the same house since I was a child. This is my grandfather's house. He came to Canada a long time ago, and this property's remained in the family for now 3 generations.
Cool.
I grew up across a little river, Verdun, so I started my football career with Point St. Charles Aces. My dad was a coach, so I remember going ever since I was a little baby to his practices, watching, helping, water, balls, mowing the lawn, drawing the lines in the grass. I did it all. I loved the game. I loved being around him when he was coaching. I loved the atmosphere of the pads hitting, the hot dogs cooking on the sidelines, the moms and little babies cheering on the sideline. I fell in love with it as a child. So at 5 years old, as soon as I was given the signature to release me to allow me to play, I haven't stopped. I haven't looked back.
Did you end up playing CJEP and going through that whole program too?
Yes, sir. I went to Vanier College in Saint Laurent. I did 3 seasons there, and it was memorable. Some of the greatest memories I've ever had in my life.
And how did that lead to you going to the University of Buffalo? I would imagine there was a number of scholarship offers and probably a bunch of Canadian schools were trying to keep you up north. So how did that process play out for you?
Well, to begin, I would like to thank Vanier College for just being a great support system, having great mentors, having great people, resources. Education is fantastic, but everything was already set in place for me to do well. I've had a lot of great mentors that also went through Vanier and made it through the CFL, like Sean Main, Jesse Josephs, Adrian Davis. Guys who've had college careers and pro careers have done really well for themselves after football. But just having those guys around my life who I know who went through the same path I did, basically already had it drawn out for me, had the map, had the game plan drawn out. I just had to do really well in school, had to put in work in the off-season, training, running, conditioning, strength conditioning, and then just, killing it in my classes.
And your parents really instilled that work ethic in you from when you were a young child. How did they do that?
Probably by not just giving anything to me. I had to work for everything. Had nothing handed to me as a child. I didn't come from we don't come from the richest background, but my parents provided everything that I needed But anything that I wanted, they told me that I had to go out and get it myself. Video games, I had to shovel snow for a couple winters to save up money to buy my first PS3. That was mine, and I still have to this day, and I cherish this day because I worked hard for it. But little things like that where they wouldn't give me the satisfaction of just buying it from me. They made me get a job. I worked multiple jobs. I worked at Provigo, a grocery store. I worked at the AMC movie theater downtown Atwater. I worked at the Vanier Sports Complex, multiple different jobs there. I've done little odd jobs like movings, working for lawn mowing people, just really doing anything to earn a buck. And this was all while I was also going to school full time, taking 7 classes at Vanier, studying, trying to train, trying to study for the SAT, doing other things, multiple things to try to keep myself busy, but also in the route to try to be successful.
A lot of good stuff, man. But I might be most curious. Does the PS3 still work?
Oh, yes. Oh, I have it. It's actually in Buffalo right now. I'm kind of sad that I didn't bring it with me back home, but I wasn't expecting to be here for like 3 months at least.
Favorite game on PlayStation?
Oh, NCAA 14, man.
Oh, still rocking the NCAA.
Oh, I still have it. Classic. I can't wait for them to finally release a newer version, but no, I still have that game. Road to Glory is still my favorite game mode of all time.
Do you still update the games, or do you have the ones that you originally bought when you purchased the system?
Oh, what do you mean, like
do you have the original? Yeah, like when you bought the PS3, do you have some of the original games that you got with it, like your first games with the system, or do you update them through the years?
I keep it all. I think the first couple of games I bought for it were Modern Warfare. Probably NCAA was one of the first games I probably bought. Probably Grand Theft Auto. Maybe like a racing game. And definitely 2K. I've had all the 2K since like 2K, 14, 13.
Nice.
Yeah.
And your parents are making you earn and go out and buy your own video game system. Seems like everyone in our world now obviously is walking around with cell phones. When I was a kid, personally myself, I didn't have one until the later years in high school. How did that work out for you? Did your parents provide you one, or was that something you had to go earn on your own?
They just wouldn't get me a cell phone. I really couldn't afford to buy a cell phone and keep a plan at the time, or I was not interested in doing it because I saw it as an expense, I guess, that I really didn't need. There was pay phones. I had plenty of friends who would let me borrow their phones. So they were never pressured to get me a phone. It was only until later in high school where I was going to more things. I was doing Team Quebec. I was training in different parts of the city. I had friends in different parts of the city, which they allowed me to go have fun with. But I was only at that point where they realized that, I need a phone now because they want to keep in touch with me and make sure I'm safe. But even when they got me a phone, they got me this big clunky phone. It was like 4 or 5 years past due, and I could only do so many things on it. I don't even think I could access the internet on it. Well, I don't think any phones back. No, definitely no. My phone was definitely way past due, but I could text, I could call, I could get voicemail. So I was rolling. I was set. I was enjoying it. People used to make fun of me about my phones growing up all the time. Throughout high school, throughout Vanier, people were making fun of me, but hey, it worked. So
that's all you needed.
I was happy. I guess looking back on it, my parents made me really appreciate things. And wow, yeah, I miss those phones now because they were so much more simple. People would FaceTime me, people wouldn't bother me. If they didn't text or call me, they would leave me alone. So I guess I miss those days.
It allows you maybe just to focus on the present a little bit.
Oh, definitely. Where my feet are, it's a big thing, especially when I learned in Buffalo, be where your feet are. So looking back on, I guess it was them implementing that a little bit in me at a time.
Was that old school phone the one that NCAA schools were contacting you on when the time came?
What phone did I? I think it was Twitter. I remember the schools would hit me up on Twitter. They weren't with the rules and everything. They would be limited to how much texting and calling they could do when I was getting recruited. But yeah, I think I still had an old slide up type Motorola. I think
the Razor maybe.
No, it was definitely not a Razor. It was the upside. If the Razor had a big brother that was chunky, or that'd probably be the phone I had. I didn't have the Razor. I probably had the dull butter knife.
How did the whole NCAA recruiting process play out from you, from sorting through all of the offers and then ultimately deciding to go to UB?
Because that whole process was a journey, man. Started probably when I was 14, when I was introduced to the possibility that I could play in the States. My old football coach, Andre Clark, I met him in LaSalle, and I've been training with him ever since. He first put the idea in my head and in my friend's head that we can go somewhere with football if we put the right amount of work in. So I pretty much started from that, getting information when I was young. I always wanted to go play high school football in the States, but my parents didn't feel like I was mature enough and ready enough to leave the house yet. And I can appreciate that. They wanted to keep me at home where I felt that I still had lessons to learn and things to experience while under their watch. So I stayed, took, I guess, a longer route by going to Vanier. And I remember when I was getting recruited by Vanier, Junior Luke was coming out of CJEP, and he was getting recruited by some teams in the States. And I remember Coach Pete, head coach from Vanier, great guy, he was telling me about the possibilities of me playing in the States and how schools come up and see guys when their time is right. And so just from that, I remember that first couple of days I was in Coach Pete's office with my dad. He was talking to me and telling me that if I just work hard and I come to Vanier, the sky's the limit. So I was at Vanier for 3 years, try to work as hard as I can, work as hard as I could. But I only had a couple schools that really came out. There wasn't that many schools coming to see kids coming out of CJEP when I was getting recruited. But Buffalo was one of the first teams down south to offer me completely. They showed me love and interest and support immediately. I didn't feel really much hesitation. I was talking to a couple other schools down south. But the way Buffalo was aggressively showing me how much they care and want me, I committed probably maybe a couple weeks after they offered me, after talking to my parents and reviewing my Canadian options.
So was it an early commitment?
It was summer. When they offered me in the summer, I went to a camp. I did well. They offered me after the camp. I came home. I might have taken a couple more Canadian trips just to have my friends go with somebody, because a lot of my friends were having these offers from different schools and they didn't want to go alone. So I remember taking visits with some of them. But it was just basically just trying to compare Buffalo to Canadian schools and really see how big the difference is, how big the gap is between D1 football and CIS football.
For you, was there ever a thought of potentially playing in your hometown at one of the schools in Montreal? There's a number of institutions there.
I won't lie, yes. I had to think about it. I had to go through my options. I had a lot of great mentors who coached at universities in Montreal. Ron Hilaire, he actually played at Buffalo. He's head coach in McGill right now. And I don't know, I've always been drawn to him. He's such a great leader, such a great mentor. So whatever he would ever say, I would listen and take in completely, full-heartedly. So I definitely consider going to McGill because obviously it's a great academic school, and having him there would have been amazing to be around every day.
Then what was it about UB that sold you on that program?
The love. I remember when I first went to UB, we didn't have like what we have now. When I left, we didn't have indoor, we didn't have a training room. Dining kind of tables. We didn't have big meeting rooms or really sufficient meeting rooms. Our locker room didn't look the same. Our turf was different. The carpet on the floors in the locker room were different. The lockers were different. The chilling areas that we have as players were different. The academic resources were good, but they weren't as great as they are now. So I just saw the potential with UB. They had a lot of great people, and I feel like when you have a lot of great people in the facility and an organization, there's really so much potential for room to grow.
Were you there when Khalil Mack was there?
No, he graduated a couple of years before I even got there.
Ah, gotcha.
But I have met him a couple times. His younger brother went to UB, Ladarius Mack. He's a monster defensive end. But Khalil Mack would definitely come around campus, definitely show love. He'd work out with us, compete. He's an insane beast. He's a monster. I remember a couple times where I was used as a practice dummy for him so he can practice some Krav Maga techniques, and it was insane.
Good guy to take reps against.
I didn't really get to take reps. I was kind of like just showing him my arms, giving him body presence, and he would just do his thing with his trainer. I remember this one time, his trainer, this guy, he practices with these like knives, and he was telling us like, don't resist because these are techniques that are being taught to break someone's arm. So,
Ouch.
yeah, no, it was some serious business, but I loved it. I took every moment in. I saw how he worked, saw how he came in as a professional, how he talks to everybody, how he looks everybody in the eye. But that dude's just a beast and just a really great role model.
Were you able to take some of his teachings and obviously what else you learned there at Buffalo and provide that forward for yourself so you could be ready for the pros?
Oh, definitely taking in every moment I can of learning. People trying to pour into me, people trying to give me information and tools that will ultimately help me in my career. I've been blessed to keep in touch with my older big bros in the offensive line room. Some of them have gotten opportunities to play pro ball in both Canada and the States. So they always come back, or I always keep in touch with them, and they tell me things, and they share film, and they share knowledge and resources, and which I've used and I took advantage of because why not? Like, it's only going to get me better. And they want the best for everybody in our circle and everybody who's played for UB. So it's a great environment to get better and to learn from other people and to listen.
Who are some of those former teammates from UB that are either playing in the NFL or the CFL?
Well, I'll start off with Rubens Joseph. I played a little left guard with him a little bit at UB in practice reps and a little bit. I don't know if we played in the game on the same side, but we definitely started together. He has had time in Miami. He has had time in Baltimore, and right now he's actually with the Toronto Argonauts right now.
Ah, okay. Good connection in the league.
Oh, definitely. James O'Hagan, big mentor to me. Great guy. Strong leader, power, just grit. I can't say enough about how tough this guy is. He had some time with the Giants a little bit, and then he had just passed. This past season had a stint with the XFL DC Defenders.
Nice.
But great guy. He's definitely only one way up for him. He's such a great competitor, and I've learned so much from him. I played with him next to him for 3 years, so every day I felt like he was showing different things, maybe not even intentionally, but I would just pick it up, and I just want to say thank you to him right now because I don't think I probably said thank you to him enough.
That's pretty special, man. What was it like overall playing at UB? Because from my understanding, Western New York and Buffalo, the city, follow that program religiously.
Oh yeah, there's a great fan base. I've seen the ups and downs of it. Being my first season, we went 2-10, so the hype wasn't that real. But we've gone on to have great seasons, going to not winning the MAC title, but getting there at least. Going to multiple bowl games, winning this bowl, last past Bahamas bowl game. I've seen it grow in the commitment level of the city. They love sports in Buffalo, great sports town. The Bills, the Sabres. They have minor league baseball. They got a whole bunch of hockey players around town. A lot of football fans. Bills Mafia is crazy. But no, it's a great sports town, and when you're doing well and you're showing that you're committed to the city and committed to put on to the city, they really come in droves and they really support, and it's great.
If I'm not mistaken, you were part of the winningest class ever in UB football history. Why do you think your group was able to turn the program around, as you said, from your first year to finish it off with a bowl victory?
It's just that when we were young, our first 2-10 season, we were young. A lot of guys had transferred out, and then obviously some guys had to come transfer in. So we were new. Our chemistry levels weren't right to be successful right away. But we had a whole lot of hard workers on our team, a lot of guys who put in the work every day, and ultimately showed me when I first got into school what it takes to become a champion, what it takes to win games consistently, what it takes to eat well, train well, study hard, do well in the classroom. All those things matter and count. And you don't think so at first. Like, why does school count? These in game planning, or why does how I do on this test affect how I perform on the weekend? And it really does. Coach Leipold did a really great job in showing us that everything matters, and it's all about the details, and to limit distractions. And if you do those things, then you'd be successful. And we did. We didn't win a MAC title while my class was there. It was our goal. It's the only thing we talked about. It's our mindset. It's how we break the huddle down, how we break workouts down. We won a MAC championship. It's unfortunate that we couldn't finish that. We were very close, but close is not close enough. And but that was our mindset. So that's all we wanted to do. There was nothing else besides being victorious.
Overall, it really seems like your class changed sort of the face and complexion and the thought around that program overall. How does that make you feel?
I don't want to just limit to my class. Like, there was a lot of great guys that were coming out during those times that may have not had the full 4 years to try to have a certain amount of wins, but there were a lot of great guys who were in the program that are in great places right now because they worked hard and they try to help turn around the program, because it takes older guys in leadership. So as a younger class, we were there for 4 years, but it took the older guys to help us and lead us and point us in the right direction. So I really thank those guys who were there in my first three years of college, because I feel like they were really like the guys to almost start the ball and get the chain rolling.
What was it like to play with a quarterback who has the physical skill set of Tyree Jackson?
I mean, that dude's a freak. He runs really well, jumps really well, strong, puts a lot of work in the weight room, spends a lot of time before practice, after practice, working on his game. Just a beast, tall. He never had a quarterback who was so tall. So he was really mobile. So it was just great. It was fun. He could either run it himself for 60 yards or he could bomb it for 60. So every play, it was like, you got to be ready for both.
What did it give you sort of a view of what it might be like watching the pro days as you were going through your years until it was finally yours?
Oh, definitely. I watched all of our seniors from the years when I was younger, watched them, how they went about it, how they prepared for pro day, was taking in advice, taking in information before it was actually my turn so that I could use it when it was my time to shine. But just always watching, being tentative. But yeah, definitely, those guys were definitely showing me what to do before I had to do it.
Your versatility along the offensive line is one thing from talking to scouts that seems to stand out. Do you take pride in that?
Versatility in what ways? Like my playing styles, or the fact that I can probably play almost all 5? Or
That's it, playing across anywhere on the O-line.
I mean, I've been asked to do it my whole career, to play different spots. I played a little bit of center growing up when I played for the South Warriors. But I mostly played guard and tackle there. I was rotating around, playing in different spots, so that helped me a lot growing up, playing offensive line, of how to put my hand in the dirt different ways, line up, get my feet balanced, and get my my blocks off right from different stances. Just being asked to do multiple things, I guess, growing up, and not like being stuck in one position or only playing one style of football or playing only for one team. I've played for a couple different coaches that have been very successful in their careers. So I feel like just being in the right spots, I guess, and playing for the right people has allowed me to have my game where it's at today, but still a long way to go on my route to improvement. But I'm just blessed to have had the training I've had growing up and have had the mentors in my life that I've had.
Do you feel like you were able to show that athleticism and versatility at the UB Pro Day?
Not as high as I probably would have. I had a meniscus tear mid-season that I had to play through. So coming in January, I was half training, half rehabilitating my knee. So during pro day, I had to really almost not pick and choose what I wanted to really dominate in, but like I had to limit myself, especially on my jumping, especially the broad jump. I didn't jump as hard anywhere as hard as I should have been able to if I was coming out 100%. But I didn't want to jump and land an awkward way, or maybe like land funny, and I wouldn't be able to produce or perform in my indie drills for the scouts. So I wanted to show that I was bendable, flexible, explosive, but also in a certain limit in the 40 testing and the L drill and all those other tests that may not always equate to football, so that I could perform well during my work with the scouts and drills and stuff like that. I can show that I'm getting way better and back to normal, and that it was just a minor hiccup this season.
Is that tear healing on its own, or does it need surgery?
Oh, no, I got it scoped out in the middle of the season. I took like about a week and a half off, and I was right back to it. It wasn't fun, but I really wanted to play and get back with my teammates and finish off my career strong. I didn't want to redshirt. I was finishing my master's, so I didn't want to have to stay back a whole another year, and I didn't know what that would look like, especially I guess right now with all this going on in the air. I'm glad I finished off when I did.
And what was your master's program in?
Education studies.
And how was that balance playing football at a high level for you, be obviously starting on the offensive line while completing your master's?
It was great. It was a great experience. Being able to go to Vanier, I was able to come to college with like 66 credits already. So having 66 credits transfer over your freshman year of college was great. I was able to finish my undergrad in sociology in 2 years. I jumped right into my master's, got all my things in line. I finished my undergrad with 3.3, I think, GPA. So I slid into grad school like a glove.
Nice.
It was just, I don't know, it was just hard work. I remember having to do a lot of reading on the roads on road trips, having to do a lot of discussion boards on the bus rides. Just trying to stay on top of my material. It's like any other, I guess, major. I know all of my friends were business majors and chemical science majors and nuclear physics and a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and those guys play football. So I felt like, writing papers and commenting other people's work and, learning more wasn't that big of a struggle or a deal. If I overthought about it, maybe I would have been overwhelmed, but I just try to keep even keel about it because I know that it's just schoolwork, and as long as I get it done, I'll be fine.
How can having a packed schedule between football and schoolwork and everything else that you were doing prepare you for success at the pro level?
Time management. Having to balance what I want to do and what I have to do. I got papers due. I got to get those done before I can do anything else. And if I don't have time to do anything else, then I don't. If I got to study for this game film or got to get ready to travel this weekend, I got to make sure I get my homework done at least by Wednesday. So then Thursday I don't have to think about it, and I'm just getting ready, getting into game mode.
There were a number of pro teams from both sides of the border, CFL and NFL, at your pro day. What's sort of your focus right now in terms of which league you might be trying to get to?
My focus is probably just interviewing well right now. Trying to display the best me I possibly can. I feel like everything is in fate's hands right now. I was able to do pro day, so my tape from pro days out there. My game film for the last 4 years is out there. So I feel all I can do right now is interview well, answer the questions to the best of my ability from whatever side of the border that has the most interest in me. I really have no preference. I mean, my preference is to make the most money possible for my family. But apart from that, I'd go anywhere. I'd live almost anywhere. I love new experiences. I love living in new environments. I love to learn from anybody who is willing to teach me. So I feel that whoever I've impressed the most or feels that I would fit the best there, I'm willing to go there. If it's cold, hot, blizzard, tornadoes, it'll all be exciting. It'll all be a new experience. But I'm just really glad and fortunate to even be in the situation and to have the honor and privilege of having people, call me and text me and to be interested in me. And if it's just a blessing, I wanted this moment to happen on my life. Maybe not in a corona fashion, but definitely have been waiting for this all my life. And I'm just so happy to make my parents and my friends and my loved ones around me happy and excited for me.
What are these interviews like now, and have the NFL ones differentiated from the CFL ones?
CFL I feel is more personal, Zoom and Skype type of calls with coaches. They ask you a lot of questions. You talk to multiple coaches. NFL has just been mostly through text and through my agent. Well, my temporary my stepmom's my agent right now, so it's keep it in the family.
Yeah, I like it.
But no, it's just been that for the most part, answering questions, and I feel like I guess this is the time where teams try to search information out about you. So asking your friends and peers and coaches and teachers about you. So I feel like right now, anything that I've ever done in my life is probably coming to light, or people are finding out everything about me that they need to find out to make sure I'm not a nutcase or a bad guy.
Are there any questions that have come out of field for you or been the curveball?
Not really. I feel like I've been prepared for this moment because I've had friends who've gone through it. So they've told me the interesting questions they've had, or like the type of topics teams want to talk about. And I've had coaches, pour into me growing up and tell me about these types of deals because they've went through it. So because I guess that I've been able to have such great people around me and, trying to keep me prepared at all times, that nothing so far has seemed crazy. Maybe sometimes I get a little anxious and a little paranoid because I always want to answer as best as I can. So sometimes I always think back about how I answered things, and maybe if I mumbled a little bit, sometimes I mumble and I don't articulate my words as well as I should. So that gets to me, and I always I'm trying to get better at that, but my anxiousness sometimes during this time gets into my head, especially being in the house all day. It's a little tough.
Just some excitement, really, is probably what's coming out.
Oh yeah, it's very exciting. I just want to do it as well as I can because I feel like I owe it to people who've helped me. And I feel like I'm a credit to everybody who's giving me lifts after practice, giving me lunch at school, or like anybody who's done anything for me. I feel like I owe them, and I always try to put that on my shoulders because it drives me and it keeps me motivated, it keeps me humble to want to put on for people who's helped me, because I've needed so much help in my life, not that financially wise, but on things like lifts after practice, or like going to all-star games and I need like a ride, or because it's hard in Quebec or something. Like, we've always had people just reach out and help me and my family to make sure that I end up where I'm supposed to end up.
Do you have a sense from an NFL perspective what could happen in terms of being a draft pick, undrafted free agent, or rookie minicamp invitee?
Oh, I just want to get in the building. So if that means it's a rookie minicamp invite, if it means it's a tryout, I really don't. It really doesn't matter where I end up in the draft or where I really don't care about that. I just want to make sure I get in the door. Same thing with college football. When I came to Buffalo, I just needed the offer. One offer, didn't need to be glamorous, didn't need to be all exciting. I just need to get in the door. And that's been my mindset growing up. As long as I get one foot in the door, I feel like I can press on and press through and make something of it.
And from a CFL perspective, there's a lot of people up in Canada talking about you being a high-end first-round pick, one of the top offensive linemen available in the 2020 class. Do you feel like you're the best guy available in the CFL draft at the O-line spot?
I felt I haven't watched enough tape on other guys to even make a judgment about them. Obviously, they're being scouted because they've had great careers as well. Guys that are around my age, so I wouldn't want to disrespect them and say out loud that I'm better than them because I don't know those guys. But I'm just honored to be, have my name mentioned. Have seen my name in articles is always, I always get a little tingle and excitement from it. But no, I would say that I've tried to be the best me as I can be, and hopefully that means that I'm worthy of being a top pick. But everybody's being looked at because they deserve it and because they've done well. I don't want to put down anybody. Those are about to be grown men now. So I feel like I can only prove it by actually getting in the door somewhere and, putting it on tape. And then in 2 years and 3 years, then anybody who wants to decide that, they can decide that. But I just try to be the best me I can be every day.
The CFL Combine ended up being canceled, obviously, to the COVID-19 pandemic. But was that an event that you might have attended and maybe not worked out and stood on your pro day numbers and just go to the interviews, or what were you planning, let's say, if that event happened?
Oh, I would have definitely been there. I got a lot of friends that I played football with growing up that it was their time to shine. I was definitely going to interview there, definitely talk to as many teams that would have liked to talk to me, but mostly just to support a lot of my close friends growing up, Jersey Henry, Devlin Moore, Brian Hermela, I'm messing up his name, but
Herlamana, I got you.
I always mess up his name. Hopefully he doesn't hear this too soon. But, no, a bunch of guys I played with at Vanier, guys I played with at LaSalle, Justin Julian. I'm probably blanking out names right now. Adam Sinegra from Calgary. I played all-star games with him. I competed against him when he played for Saint Laurent. I played for LaSalle. I'm blanking out, but there's a whole bunch of guys I played against, played with, known growing up, trained with. But I just wanted to say hi to, support. Whatever they needed, I would be able to help them out, because I feel like I've trained with a lot of great guys who've pushed me and helped me work hard. And so I felt it would have been a great 360 moment to come full circle and we're all there, and so it's finally our time.
You mentioned interviewing with teams on Zoom or taking phone calls or Skype or any stuff like that. What's on the docket for you between now and both drafts? The NFL and the CFL draft both happen at the end of April.
I'm just I'm working out on my sidewalk and in my driveway every day. That's the only guaranteed thing I have every day that I try to keep consistent. I'm running and just trying to stay healthy and fit, and also doing my offensive line drills and work. But that's about it. That's consistent. I got a couple interviews here and there that are popping up as the days go on. Every day I'm getting some new heat about that, but it's just been kind of quiet and steady for the most part. Just being patient and waiting for when the draft actually happens.
What do you think that moment will be like? Whether it's NFL, CFL, when you get picked by a team, and I can sense the excitement in you that you just want to get in the building there. Have you allowed yourself to go to that point yet, or are you patiently waiting?
You think about it, but you dream about it for so long. Right now, it kind of feels like there's just a monkey on the back, and you're just trying to wait for it to get lifted when you finally maybe hear your name at some point getting picked up. But it's just a waiting game right now, and I try not to put myself in that situation because there's so many different scenarios that can happen. I can end up not even being like in the first round of the CFL. I could be a last round CFL pick. Like, you never know, things happen. So every day I just try to focus on my daily tasks, and just when that day comes, I'll be really excited and really appreciative of wherever I end up. But also still the mindset it's only the beginning, and this is only a starting point now. It's like my first day back in college. It's the beginning. It's time to work and climb the ranks.
Do you or your family have a preferred destination because they're in Montreal? Do they want to try to keep you in that city?
No, not really. They're probably just hoping for somewhere warm. Hopefully I can play somewhere. I've always played in the cold most of my life, so probably somewhere warm, I guess, for them. But my dad's traveled far places to come see me play football, so I feel like wherever it is, he'll be excited to go to a new venue and a new places to see me play. But that's about it for them. They're just really excited, really happy for me.
Did your parents pass on some athletic genes to you? Were they athletes growing up?
Oh, for sure. My dad played football, rugby, bunch of hockey growing up in St. Bruno, Quebec. Playing a lot of those sports outside. I have a lot of uncles and aunts that play a lot of sports as well, so they're all active together. On my dad's side. On my mom's side, my mom weightlifted. She ran track, volleyball, swam, always ran. So we come from very active and healthy parents.
You got some good genes then.
Oh yeah, I'd say so for sure. I guess being 6'4", being blessed, a lot of guys in Montreal are not this tall, so I guess definitely getting it from them.
Did your parents make it to all the games at UB that were in Buffalo?
Maybe not all of them. We've had some action games where they're midweek games where they work, so they can't go. But most of the home games and even some of the road games that are more out east, Army, most of the teams on the East Coast, they would try to be able to come, but being able to play on TV allowed them to just sit back on the couch at home and enjoy seeing their son play on TV.
What was it like to play in those action games, nationally televised games in the States on ESPN or CBS or some of those big channels down there? What was it like to be on that stage?
It was a blessing to have that opportunity. I can't see myself play while I'm playing, so it's only a great experience. After, just it's a great exposure. I'm just more fortunate that my friends and family back home can see me play. But most of those games are a midweek on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when you got class in the morning, so it's just a whole different experience. But it's exciting. Did
you ever go back and watch the games from the TV cut after?
Oh, all the time. That's probably what one of the first things. So I come home, I get in my bed after we hang out maybe after a win. But after a loss, I'm probably in my bed right away, trying to find the game on YouTube or somewhere, trying to rewatch it, trying to see how it looks on national TV.
And how did that change your week overall? Because you said a lot of those games, the action ones, end up being midweek. So what did that do to your schedule?
It changes. We then have practices on the weekends, and hopefully it's after a bye week so we can switch up how we do things. The process of Monday to Friday goes from like a Sunday to a Wednesday or whatever, or Saturday to Wednesday. So we're just switching the days. Like having played and been in the system for so long, Monday practices look like Monday practices. So if a Monday practice is on a Sunday, that's the biggest change. That it's a Sunday, not a Monday. And you just gotta keep your head on swivel and always be ready for change, because always things happen with school and academics and meetings and workout times. Things change. But Buffalo, we've had a great system of communication. So we've always had them keeping us on alert and keeping us up to date on upcoming things that we need to be aware of. So it was a transition, like going to school and then having to go play football was a bummer my first season. But that year, that was actually a game that we won. We beat Akron in the cold my freshman year when we went 2-10. So getting that one of those wins on the max week, kind of propels you for the rest of your career, and saying that you can do this every year if you can do it on the year that you went 2-10.
For sure. What was your favorite moment overall about playing football at the University of Buffalo?
The locker room. Definitely the locker room. We've had Buffalo recruits from all over the United States, from California to Louisiana to Florida to Detroit to Virginia to the DMV and Maryland, just everywhere. So we had a lot of great characters and funny guys in the locker room, a lot of big personalities. So just being there after practice, before practice, after workouts, in between meetings, at any point, when you got more than 10 guys in there, it's a fun time, from joking around to wrestling to throwing guys in the shower, just having a really great time. And it was even better the fact that Buffalo recruited a lot of Canadian talent. Dominic Johnson, Cole Burney, Devlin Moore, Gabe Wallace, DeAndre, freshman out of London, Ontario. Probably Julian Barasa, just always trying to bring in Canadian guys. Chris Merchant was there when I was my freshman year. He was there. So they always try to bring in local Canadian guys right across the border. So being there with having those guys in there too was funny, because there's always a feud between American football players and Canadian guys sometimes, talking smack and whatnot. So having Gabe Wallace, a big old hunk dude, in your corner, sitting next to you in your locker room, those wrestle matches really helped. But it was just great, sharing those experiences, being the older guy in the locker room at the end, and having a lot of younger Canadian guys and helping them, guiding them, giving them the tools that were given to me, passing down information. Trying to fill that big brother role was really a blessing. And I'm just really excited and happy that Buffalo continues to believe in Canadian prospects. Coach Koltnicki, he's a head Canadian recruiter at Buffalo. He was the one who recruited me. He has always came back to Canada, and every time he's in Montreal, he hits me up. I remember last time he was in Montreal, we went to go get a poutine. So it's just great that they have so much faith and trust in us guys up north.
Did you ever feel like you had to prove yourself above and beyond an American counterpart that you were competing against?
Not at all. They're saying since I got to campus was, if you can ball, you can ball. Doesn't matter where you're from. Like, they recruit guys from France, from Germany. They'll take a guy from anywhere if he can ball and he can do it consistently, and he can be a good teammate and a good guy in the program. So I never felt any animosity for being Canadian. You're in the locker room, guys like joke around. There's a little ignorance when you first get there about how Canada really is and stuff like that, especially from the guys down south who never seen snow in their life. So they say a bunch of funny stuff, but it's out of great humor, and there was no one who treated me less than or other than for being Canadian at all. It was just, they took it in as a learning experience from guys from different places. So it was great.
Do some of those guys from the South and the States think that we live in igloos up here and that kind of thing?
I got that. I don't know if it was a joke, but I remember my freshman year it was like that. I think he asked me if our president's name was Tim Hortons, and I had to start with telling him we have a prime minister. That was like the first kind of shock to them. Yeah, guys down south really don't know too much. I mean, some guys do, but some guys, you just have never been around Canada, so I guess you would never know. You're closer to Mexico, so. But no, it was it was funny. It was great. They ask, they're not assuming things or saying crazy things, but sometimes the questions are just entertaining because I feel that we know more about them than they know about us.
And you had to straighten some of them out too, which is good.
I mean, yeah, just passing on information, trying to help you guys out. It's my major, so just trying to do right.
Just enlighten some people. That's all.
I mean, that's all it is.
Tomas, man, we've taken up probably way too much of your time, but it's been awesome. Thank you for setting aside some time. We hope you, your family, your loved ones around you stay safe during the coronavirus pandemic, and we wish you all the best in the NFL draft, the CFL draft, and your pro journey, man. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, man. It means a lot. Thank you for reaching out to me. Happy to do this again anytime. You're a great guy, and hope to meet you soon in the future when all this clears up.
Appreciate it, man. Be well.